I can't say that this is something completely different as it's essentially another M4, but this is a gun that I didn't think much of at first, but these have been growing with some hype recently, so let's check these out. This is the Classic Army Nemesis. All of these are, and these aren't even all the models available, but I should be able to cover all the basics that make this series so cool in my opinion. Now, this trip to GI Tactical Store in Plano, Texas to check out all these new products was of course sponsored by Airsoft GI, where you can get one of these for about $335 to even $420. Like I just said, there's a lot of variants when it comes to the Nemesis, so prices are really going to vary here. So let's see what you'll be getting with the Nemesis, where we always begin with the unboxing. I'm getting very used to the Classic Army formula of guns, so I can just say now that you'll get a very appreciated gun bag that I really like to see in these boxes. It would actually be a bit weird if you didn't get a bag with the Classic Army gun now. Then you'll be getting a thin manual that should be covering all the basics of all the standard Classic Army guns, but nothing specific about the Nemesis, just like the M16 and the SG-1 I went over recently. But if you're watching this review, then you should figure everything out within a couple minutes. And after you put this off to the side, you'll have the Nemesis and the cleaning/and jamming rod to enjoy. And yes, this unboxing is the same for the other models as far as I can tell. So this is the Nemesis. I mean, it looks like just another M4, an M4 with markings on the bolt cover that make me giggle slightly. The flag is backwards and there's a point missing between the 2 and 223. They do plan on fixing this, as the CEO of Classic Army told me personally. Cool guy, by the way. But if we're going to start anywhere, then we're going to start with the plastic flash hider that sits on standard 14mm counterclockwise threads that you would expect. This plastic flash hider is of course on a metal barrel, but things change as we take a look at the other variants. Some of these Nemesis models come with a mil-spec M-LOK rail setup, but some shake things up with rail segments up front right from the box. Or you can get a round handguard with key mount underneath and spots for other rails that you can screw on. But you will be getting some rail segments from the box with these variants. Up top we get a set of metal flip-up iron sights that will lock into place unless you push in the button to release them from their standing position. These rest on a monolithic top rail that connects with the billet-style CNC aluminum receiver, which is where all the rest of the good stuff can be found. You know I like ambidextrous controls, and this rifle has them all, from ambi selector switches that can be switched from either side, the magazine releases, and even the bolt release. The bolt release and catch will hold open your mock bolt so you can make adjustments to your rotary style metal hop-up. That will click as you turn it, however you'll have to activate the release manually. But after you're done making your adjustments, you can hit either the bolt releases and you're set. I do think that the bolt cover design is neat, by the way, but just like a lot of you watching, I was a stickler for the backwards flag and the missing point in 223, but this is going to be changed soon as well. So I already showed you all the controls that I like a lot, but now I'm going to show you probably the best programmable trigger that I've ever seen or ever had the chance to test. You see, the Nemesis has a really cool trick under the hood, and you can find it by holding down the trigger in semi for 5 seconds. Do you hear that chirping? Well, that's the programmable electronic trigger system. With this, you can change your fire selector from semi-full auto to semi 3-round burst, semi 5-round burst, 3-round burst full auto, 5-round burst full auto, 3-round burst 5-round burst, and even semi-semi to completely lock out the gun's capability to fire in full auto. Just go through the options by listening to the chirps and pull the trigger in semi to switch between the options. Then flip the fire selector from full auto back to semi to lock in your preferred choice. This feature just kicks so many other guns in the ass, if I do say so myself. And it's just so easy to do this, but you're not going to be so sneaky at all if you're trying to change your fire selector while being stealthy, because the chirps are quite loud, so be aware of that. The trigger responses are also very good on these rifles, so much so that if you like the speedball semi-auto in game, then you should like the Nemesis line. And if you really need to get to your motor quickly, then you're gonna love the quick access pistol grip that bears a comfortable golf ball texture. This is another great pro for quick access to your motor and motor connections. If you've ever had your connections come apart during a game or a milsim event, then you know why this is an awesome feature. Onto the stocks now, we have two choices, a PDW stock with a metal buffer tube to house your battery and connections, or a crane style stock with a few compartments, like this little door for whatever batteries you want to house inside. But to get to your connections, you'll have to push in this button on the back so you can swing the butt pad off. Unlike the other Classic Armies I've reviewed before, we only get Dean's connections with this gun, so if you don't run Dean's on any of your batteries, then you're going to either want to get an adapter, or you're just going to have to switch your Dean's. It's just that simple. Onto the PDW style stocks. These stocks are made from metal, but are grooved in the back to add texture to your shoulder or to your gear. I like these stocks more, but man is the battery storage very limited, so small LiPo batteries like 7.4s or maybe small 11.1s are going to be key here. And if you're using any Dean's adapters, then you're really going to struggle getting anything into the buffer tube. It can be done, but it's going to be a really tight fit. At least you can access your battery connections rather easily, and the whole PDW style stock can be set for 3 positions, unlike some other PDW stocks on the market. Also, FYI, this is my favorite variant of the lot. I really like the naked M-lock with the PDW stock, but I don't have the right battery size at all. At the chronograph, I got low readings of about 422 and highs of 440 with 0.2 gram BBs, so this is not exactly a CQB gun. But if you have lower power springs lying around, then go ahead and make the switch with the quick change spring system that can be accessed through the buffer tube for even more practicality. Then with the 11.1 LiPo, I got a pretty average 18 and 19 rounds a second, and these readings didn't change much from any of the barrel lengths available, so even the shorter barreled Nemesis variants will give you around the same FPS measurements. So when it comes to the Nemesis line, what do I like? Well, the fully ambidextrous controls are a big plus for me, and the mil-spec M-lock rail handguard looks pretty good. The programmable trigger is leagues ahead of a lot of other triggers out there in the market, so that's a major plus, and all the variants aid to getting a rifle that suits you best. But what do I think could be better? Well, the adjuster lever on the crane stock variants feels really cheap to me. It does the job, but it could have been made from thicker plastic. The markings on the bolt are a little silly. The flash hider is very basic and nothing special at all, but that's more of a personal gripe. There's not a whole lot I can dislike really. Performance-wise, this series just works, and range was awesome at even 200 feet with the 6.03 inner barrel inside, so with a great trigger setup, great build construction, and all its models, I would recommend the Nemesis. I know there's people watching right now that are ready to slam and hate on Classic Army like any other company I've ever shined light on in any of my reviews, so I expect the comments to be half and half, but what do you think about the Classic Army Nemesis? Are you impressed or are you not phased at all? Write your thoughts down below or check out the description for all links you'll need to get yourself to the Airsoft GI web store. I hope you enjoyed my review of the Classic Army Nemesis, but until the next video drops from the city of San Antonio, this has been Scott Holmbeck, and I'll be sure to see you all next time.
So just messing with the motor adjustment, I put it at 2.